Hey everybody, Captain Tim here with my special co-host. I guess you could be a captain too of a science vessel. My husband Jordan.
Hello.
I dragged him out to do this episode with me in my Star Trek gear because this is a fantastic episode. We are doing Deep Space Nine, Season 5, Episode 6, Trials and Tribble-ations. So I'm going to go ahead and do like the intro because there's a lot of technical stuff, and then you just jump in whenever you see a point, okay?
Oh.
Actually, first, no, I'm going to back up. So, I've mentioned before how Jordan is like the least geekiest person I know and how much he hates Star Trek. But over the course of the time that I've been binging this, I've had him watch a little bit of episodes here and there. Some of the Next Generation, he did one review, and people are always like, "You're lying! Like your husband clearly likes Star Trek." And it's like, do you want to jump in and talk about how much you love me for doing this?
Oh, yes. I was gonna say, I'll start off by saying, no, actually, I hate Star Trek. Okay, so hate's a strong word. I strongly dislike Star Trek. But I'm just one of those people, I'd rather be outside. I don't really watch a lot of TV, so when it comes to being the nerdy thing, I mean, can't really get too nerdy when you're out on a trail hiking somewhere out in the woods. I mean, can't really get nerdy. But other than that, I do these videos. I watch Star Trek because I'm married to a geek, and that's just how you make marriage work. Yes, I do love you. But it's just one of those things. I just do it to make him happy. It's something that, even though I'm not interested in it, I still give it a shot because there might be a part of it that maybe I do like. And so here I am doing these videos with you guys, and 1,000 other people get to watch it, and that makes me crazy and weird. And I don't know. It drives my anxiety insane, but
I try to pick good episodes, though. Like, for this episode, this episode is probably considered one of the top 3 of Deep Space Nine, and it's in at least my top 10 of the entire franchise. Like, I love this episode. So to give you a little bit of background, and you guys, for my useless trivia, this episode was made for the 30th anniversary of the original series, which is why it has to do with Kirk and stuff. Now, if I was doing this in broadcast order, this would kind of coincide with the episode Flashback of Voyager, and that episode actually had George Takei in it. That episode has to do with Tuvok being under Sulu's command. So they both kind of had to do with the original series. Now, before we watched this episode together, I had you watch the episode it's based off of, Trouble with Tribbles. Did you like that one? What did you think?
I mean, it was okay. It took me almost, you were trying to get me to watch it for a while.
At least a month. Like, I've been begging him to watch it because I knew this episode was coming up.
So, I mean, it took me almost a month to watch it, but I mean, overall, it was nice. It was...
Because that's considered one of the better episodes.
Like I said, when it comes to this episode, I can just see myself being Uhura where she's in the bar and she's like, "Oh, it's cute, and it's making a nice noise, I want it." Yeah, and that is definitely me.
That's why we have so many animals. So I'll go ahead and just kind of do it like normal. I'll start from the beginning, kind of work my way through the notes, and then I'll just have you jump in.
Like we established in the beginning.
Like we established. So first off, in the very beginning, we have 2 agents of the temporal investigations. It's Dulmore and Loosely, which are anagrams for Mulder and Scully.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
Yeah.
And I got the notes right here in front of me.
I know, right? Arnie Darvin is in this episode, who plays... he was played by Charlie Brill. He's the same character that he was 30 years ago. That's the human... that's the Klingon that looks like a human. So that was kind of cool that they got him to come back. I like the beginning, mostly for the jokes. Like, I'm going to just call them Mulder and Scully because the other names are stupid. But where they're like, "Oh, are you guys always on time?" And they're like, "Is that a time joke?" We don't like those. But I liked it. So Barry is trapped on Cardassia. I don't know, when I said Barry, I got like a flashback of Archer. Damn it, Barry! I don't know, the cyborg. But anyways, so it's Arnie, and he orders a Raktajino, which is Klingon Coffee, and that's supposed to be the first thing. It's a long intro, but it's really important. Like, it ends up being a Bajoran time orb, which I'm sure you know nothing about. That's okay. I like how he talks about how when they go back in time, the Enterprise is there, and they're like, well, which Enterprise? You got to be specific. And he's like, yeah, there's been 5 ships with that name, which we got the Enterprise, the A, B, C, and D. And he's like, no, there's 6, which implies the Enterprise E, which we haven't seen yet. First Contact has not come out, which is my favorite ship. And one of them's like, oh yeah, Kirk, he's a menace. He had 17 temporal violations, which when you go back and watch the original series, they did a lot of time travel. Like the whole 3rd season was just time travel, basically. So I kind of wanted, if I knew about this line, I kind of want to go back and recount them. They talk about how it was 105 years ago and a Friday. And then finally we get to this crossovers where I like how Bashir is like, I'm a doctor, not a historian. And which is a shout out to Bones. And this is the first time we see Dax without her spots. I didn't actually rewatch the original series episode because I didn't have to. It's like permanently in my brain. For you, what did you think of Koloff, the main Klingon, who we don't see in this episode for an important reason that I'll talk about in a minute? Like, did he jump out at you at all?
No, like, the fact that you even said his name, like, way over my head.
Which is okay, because, I mean, for you not to know, that's fine.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I was like, I didn't really honestly pay attention to that.
Of course.
Much.
So, I thought it was really interesting that they didn't have Koloff in this episode, because Koloff was the main Klingon villain of the episode. But he's not in this one, which is interesting because that actor has already repraised the role of Koloff in Deep Space Nine. It was the episode Blood Oath, which is, again, one of my favorite episodes. But then he has, like, the full Klingon gear on, and it's not, like, the weird... That's what they look like with the smooth foreheads, and now they have the rigid foreheads.
Oh, okay. Oops.
I liked, like I said, this episode is full of like little shout outs and cameos, which is the stuff I picked up on. For example, at one point Dax is like madly in love with Spock. She's like fangirling over him. And Sisko thinks that she's talking about Kirk, where she's like, doesn't he look so masculine? The actress that plays Dak ends up marrying Spock's son in real life.
Oh.
Adam Nimoy. They're still married, so that's kind of cool. I like that. Little things like Sisko mentions that he wants to talk to Kirk about fighting the Gorn on Cestus 3, which is where Cassidy Yates' brother plays baseball. And then to go back to the Klingons, this episode is the first time that they actually address Klingon, the appearance. So in the original series, they had smooth foreheads, and then from the motion picture till now is the rigid foreheads.
Right.
And they never explained why. And then in this episode, that's when they're like, the Worf, like, what happened?
Yeah, and he just says we don't talk about it with outsiders.
Right. Which, to me, I'm fine with. Like, I did not need an explanation. I totally could have just ignored it and just kept going with it. Did you, as you don't watch a lot of Star Trek, do you need a reason? Like, did you think it's interesting that they look different, or do you just not really care?
Honestly, it's Star Trek, and from previous episodes that I've seen, I just assume their race decided that they needed to switch things up a little bit, and something genetically happened, and then they just carried on with it.
Which is really close to the truth. But, like, they don't address it really again until we get to, like, Enterprise, and then they end up being, like, genetically mutated and stuff. I've said over and over again, for me, I always think it was Q. Like, they've proven that it's not, but I always think Q just went to the Klingons, and a Klingon, like, pissed him off, and he's like, you know what? You're gonna look like humans now. And then that's why Worf's like, we don't talk about that, because it's, like, dishonor to their heritage. But, I don't know, I think that's the greatest explanation ever. Probably one of my favorite scenes is the scene after the fight, which the fight's a great scene, where it's cutting between the old footage and the new footage. Yes. But it's where O'Brien and Dr. Bashir are in line with everybody else, and Kirk is like walking up and down, like, who threw the first punch? Who did this? And he actually stops in front of O'Brien and is like, did you do it? And he's like, no, sir. For you, because you just watched the original episode last night, and then watching this one, did any scenes jump out at you? Like, you're like, damn, that's really good editing. Between, like, seeing, like I don't know, when Uhura walks in the bar and you kind of see Odo sitting in the background, stuff like that. Did any scene like really catch you off guard how good it was?
Honestly, like I said, I like this episode, but I didn't pay a whole bunch of attention to the small details. I would say like it was a few episodes here and there, like when they're in like I would say when they're in like the bay and they're throwing the tribbles down and stuff like that. Like, I mean, that part made
like
sense.
pegs Kirk in the head.
Yeah, exactly.
Please close this door.
Yes, exactly. Like that part I thought was interesting, even though that didn't take a whole bunch of editing, but still, it was just nice that they tied it in. Or I like when the old footage, at least I think it was the old footage, when I forgot the worm gal or the
Dax.
Dax, yes, and the guy that she's with, like they're working on something in the background, and I just liked how they meshed a lot of everything together. It was
that like I got guards around I got guards around the grain. I got guards around the Klingons.
Yes,
I didn't know 12 constituted a swarm.
And so it's just I feel like for that time era and that editing, yes, it was really good.
Yeah, and this episode was like groundbreaking for its time in editing. Like, it was such a good episode. On that same thing, that's the part where Dax talks about Emily, which she hasn't talked a whole lot about, and how Emily knew McCoy because he had the hands of a surgeon.
Yes.
So Emily was scandalous a little bit.
So it sounds like
which I don't know. I feel like you would like some of the Dax episodes. I might try to force him to watch some more. If you guys have suggestions on episodes that he would like you got to think, this is like a non-Trekkie episode. Like, what do you think he would like? And then the last random trivia I have is the final scene where Sisko meets Kirk is actually from the Mirror episode. So there's an episode where it takes place in like an alternate dimension where everybody's evil. And like Kirk is there, so Kirk knows it, and he meets a woman and falls in love with her. And then when he comes back to the correct time, that same woman, but this dimension's version, so she's good now, is a lieutenant, and she walks up to him, but she doesn't know who he is, but he knows her from the evil version. And she's like, "Hi, I'm Lieutenant so-and-so, I just transferred." And he looks at her really weird, like, "Thanks, Lieutenant." And then she walks away. Whereas in this episode, Sisko walks up to him, and then that's why he looks at Sisko, and he's like, "Why are you talking to me?" Like, it was great editing. Like, I thought they did a really good job.
Oh, yeah.
So overall, like, did you feel like you had to watch the original series episode to appreciate this one, or could I just thrown you into this one and you would have liked it?
I think, yes, probably watching the original, it was good just because they were jumping back and forth between the timelines, and then, like, that was the other one thing I liked too is the camera, the style that they shot it. You could tell like it was like the original old cliche style, but it was the newer updated like Hollywood style.
Mm-hmm. It's almost grainy looking.
Yeah, and so like I really like that. So I feel like you definitely had to like watch the old one and appreciate that to understand the new one, for them to go back in time and understand all these problems that they're going through.
Good. Let's see. So overall, would you say you enjoyed it, or were it just forgettable?
I mean, yeah, it was enjoyable.
He's just saying that.
I have a short attention span, but I mean, it kept me entertained enough that I guess I knew what was going on in the show.
Oh, good. Because I have a couple episodes. I kind of want him to watch. I won't spoil it because I forgot most of the titles.
There's we get prepared for him.
Yeah, there's a couple more episodes, and then I have no idea what episodes for Voyager that I want you to watch. Like, I don't remember a lot of Voyager.
I'm gonna stop there.
Yeah. But overall, I really enjoyed this one. I thought this was great. On the DVD and there's not a Blu-ray. Oh, there is. On the Blu-ray for the original series, there's actually a Tribble DVD, and it's the original series episode, this episode, and then the More Trouble with Tribbles animated episode that I didn't even make you watch because I don't hate anybody that much. But overall, like, yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was great to just kind of, like I said, so over the course of this show, we're like in the middle of the Dominion War. So everything's super dark, super gritty, just seeing people get blown up. This episode I felt was really good to just kind of lay back and like, hey, we get to see Kirk again. And to see the like CG, like brand new footage of like the Enterprise and stuff. I thought it was really good. For those who have seen this one, what did you guys think? Like I said, this is like a groundbreaking episode, usually considered one of the best. Did you guys like it, or did you feel like it was unnecessary? Oh, I forgot to even bring up. the one thing that kind of caught me off guard, but I don't know how else they would have done it, is they talk about how the Defiant went to Cardassia using the cloak, and they were coming back with the cloak, and then they got thrown back in time. That goes against the Romulan treaty. And so, I don't know. I realized once they went back in time, they would have had to have used the cloak. But I don't know. That kind of threw me off. But so for those who have seen this one, what did you guys think about this episode in general? What did you guys think about the tribbles? What did you think about the tribbles being introduced on the station at the end of the episode? But overall, just what did you guys think? Thank you guys for watching. Any closing thoughts?
Nope.
No? Okay. That's why I love you. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for subscribing. That means a lot to me. And I will see you guys next time for... I forgot to write it down. So it's a surprise. See you guys next time for episode 7.